Good afternoon, sports fans. It's 2:35 a.m. in Guam. Rumor is, after his performance on I-495 in Foxborough yesterday, the U.S. track team is recruiting Brandon Spikes to run the anchor for the 4x100 relay. This is Jeff the Bagman Baggett.
And this is James the Nose Holt.
And we're just saying. If you didn't get a chance to watch the U.S. Women's World Cup performance last night.
I did not. I was actually playing some dominoes with the family.
Ooh, Mexican train?
Yes. Yes, actually.
We love the Mexican train. Well, you can sum up their performance in 2 words: rusty or lazy. You pick it. They were it. My overall views on it, the first 40 minutes, the team looked really bad. You could tell that Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan didn't play until that last half, but you could tell a lot of them hadn't played together in over 3 months. They were not pushing the ball offensively or defensively. They were laid back. Defensively, they were pussyfooting around.
Do you think it was a warm-up game for those so they're not worried about it?
I don't think you can ever take a game like that counts that much as a warm-up. Megan Rapinoe did score 2 goals. Really good effort, but at times she blew a lot of good opportunities by holding the ball too long. She made a couple bad passes and took a lot of bad shots.
Are they looking at her like a Mia Hamm, though, where they're putting everything on her shoulders?
No, I think Megan Rapinoe is going to be the next Abby Wambach, who, Abby Wambach's getting old, and like I said, she hadn't played in an organized game since I think it was late April. Hope Solo, you'll hear a lot about her. She had a good game, and I put good in air quotes. She played admirably at best. And this is from me as in a keeper's perspective. You'll hear her performance being overhyped a lot. She only faced 6 shots on goal, and as I could count them, 3 of them were quality shots.
But do you do that as a coach, too? You hype up somebody to make it look like they're
better
than
what they are? Well, it's not just the coach. You'll hear it from other press that, she had this great performance, and she really didn't. We're not talking like Tim Howard's 15 saves against Belgium in 2014. But she had 3 quality shots and 1 goal on the Australia's first shot. It was a straight-on shot, handballed, and she bobbled it. And it could have easily gone. They could have easily gone into the locker room down 2-1. I just think they need to play tighter. What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, we always boost up certain people in certain sports. Right. Mayweather is now being called the greatest boxer of his era.
Right. She's, at best, a really good goalie right now. She's not great, but I think she's serviceable. Well, instinctively, she hasn't been given the opportunity to really face quality shots. Once again, rusty, lazy. I think it'll wear off. But I do think they need to play tighter against teams like Brazil and Japan. My dark horses for the tournament are Nigeria and Netherlands. So keep your eye on Nigeria and Netherlands, the 2 big ends. This is not like a Rocky fight. You can't hang around hoping things are going to work out in the end. Taking punches, and you're going to beat your opponent up in the second half. That's not going to happen, especially not against those great opponents.
If you're looking at our table or, where we're at, it's not like the men's death knell where we're in the death group. We're actually in a decent competitive group that will end up first or second. I think that's what the coach is thinking.
Yeah, what I think is it's a good thing that they're deep. But if they find themselves tied or down going into that 70th minute, I think they're going to panic and blow it. What you're going to find coming out of this field that they're in right now is that, especially with the draw last night, that they're going to have to travel a lot. So they're going to be weary. That's a thing to keep an eye on. How do they look? They're going to have to come out and push and press that first 45 minutes. If they're tired, they're not going to be able to do that. And if they get down or even tied, like I said, going into that 70th minute, they're going to panic.
And they're playing in cooler climates than the men's people.
Yeah.
Where
and
that'll
you got
help
Brazil
them out.
and
now you got Canada. So
that'll help them out. But, I think in the end, keep an eye on how Coach puts in subs and takes out subs. Alex Morgan's not playing right now with her bruised knee. Is she going to be effective? Is that knee going to hold up for the tournament? We've got Game 3 tonight in the NBA. What do you think about that?
Game 3 is a need to for LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
He has no one to pass to, no one to turn to except himself. Now, do we look at it as sports fans as this is his defining moment, that he can show that he is as good as the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant, where he is all alone? He's making his team.
I read an article on razzledazzlesports.com. It's a good site.
Razzledazzlesports.com.
You should visit that site. A little plug right there for our fellow colleagues over there at razzledazzlesports.com. And what it said was, if you looked at Game 2, the Cavaliers totally shut down Stephen Curry from beyond the arc.
Now, hold on, wait 1 second.
More three-pointers from beyond the arc than ever in his career. And that is, as the article says, is that the chink in the Warriors' armor?
Can I ask you something? Who wrote this said article on razzledazzlesports.com?
I don't know. Some guy named It's in the Bag.
It's in the bag. Wow, I couldn't imagine
It's in the
who
bag.
that is.
Bag man?
Possibility.
I heard he was a great author, though.
Minimal at best.
Oh. Nice. Body shot.
So anyway, I think really LeBron James needs Game 3. He needs a 1 or 2 game head.
Where are they playing?
They are playing in Cleveland itself.
And if he loses and goes down 1-2, if he loses at Cleveland and goes down 1-2,
to me, in the past, this may be his turning point this year. In the past, he's been like an ostrich, though. You scare him, he puts his head in the sand, he's done. Somebody else needs to take it up. Well, Kyrie Irving is out a couple of 100 miles away getting surgery, or actually in the bed after surgery, and he has nobody to depend on right now except LeBron James.
And LeBron James is carrying that team. He's absolutely carrying that team. He had a triple-double the other night with 39 points, the most points since Jerry West.
Who is the logo for the NBA.
And actually was the last person to win the MVP in a losing effort. Which brings me to my question. Who you got for NBA MVP on the playoffs? Would you take LeBron James in a losing effort? Let's say they lose 4-2. Or do you take Steph Curry in a...
So, I kind of disagree with J.A. Adonde saying that LeBron James should get 2 rings in his effort if he wins for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because so much has been put on his shoulders and so much is being taken away that the Golden State Warriors should win. I'm going for Steph Curry. No matter what, he is a totally legit guy that deserves to be rewarded with an MVP.
And my thing is like, with all the talk about how great LeBron James is, to say that his team is the underdog team in this situation, it kind of baffles my mind.
Well, LeBron James, ended up saying when he went back to Cleveland, it's going to be years till we get playoff status. And then all of a sudden they build him a team that's in the playoffs and in the finals. Well, really, what were you building up to? You knew they were going to build a team around you. They had
kind of
the cap
making an
space.
excuse.
Yeah.
Kind of making an excuse if he didn't win it.
Right.
But now that he's winning it, is he winning it because he's got a great team or because he's a great player?
And it's like, we always knew he was great. Well, the sports writers months back were griping at him because he went back to Cleveland, and then we're like, he wanted to go back home, and he may not have a good team, and now they're on his shoulders.
So
like,
back to the question. The series goes 4-2. Who would you take? LeBron James in a losing effort or Steph Curry in a winning effort for your MVP?
Even if it went 4-3, I'm going to go with Steph Curry, winner. Automatic.
You're going to go with the winner.
Going to go with the winner just because Steph Curry deserves it. Mm-hmm. He's on a team full. Can you name their starting lineup? Can you name Golden State Warriors starting lineup?
Yeah, no.
No, you can't, because he is the one.
But I think common fans would, more knowledgeable fans would. That's a great question. Can you, and we'll pose it to the audience. Can you give the MVP, just like Jerry West, to a team that loses the championship? It's been done several times. Most commonly in the NHL, the Conn Smythe has gone to a member on a losing team. But neither here nor there.
So fantasy baseball.
Yeah, so one of our colleagues, the Beard, on RazzleDazzleSports.com.
We shall not speak his name except call him the
Beard. Called us out for not being knowledgeable about daily fantasy baseball. Now, if you haven't heard, daily fantasy baseball is the new trend over the past 1 or 2 seasons with sites like FanDuel and DraftKings, your more popular sites where it's not like a seasonal play. It's where you choose your team every day. I'm not going to say I'm a great fantasy baseball drafter, but I've learned from the error of my ways over the past 6-7 years of playing fantasy baseball. And the one thing I am not is I'm not an expert, but I'm also not unknowledgeable when it comes to that. One thing I will say is predicting a player's performance on a daily basis is nearly impossible. And that's why sites like FanDuel and DraftKings employ experts to do this, to make sure that those companies make money. And to think that you can outsmart them on a daily basis. Baseball is a finicky sport. Teams and players, they're streaky, they're fluky on a daily basis. I'll give you an example. The Yankees start out the season 3-6. They didn't go 18-6. They didn't go 1-10. And then they go 10-3. So they're up and down, including this past 10-3 includes a sweep of Kansas City, the American League leaders, Seattle, and the Angels. And at best, they're a good team. They got holes in their lineup, holes in their pitching staff, and at best, they're a good team. And depending on when you look at them will depend on whether you see them as a great team or a really bad team.
But if you're taking a team as your fantasy team, are you really taking that much of a shot? You're taking a 50-50 shot, right?
Yeah, well, that brings up a great point.
Because here I'm unknowledgeable about
Let's look at an individual player, Bryce Harper. There's nobody that wouldn't want Bryce Harper in their lineup. But the truth, because he's among the top 5 in home runs, RBIs, and average, right? Over the past month, he's hit 9 home runs and driven in 21 runs. But if you would catch him over the past 2 weeks, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. That's not great numbers over 2 weeks. If you didn't have him the time he was hot, you'd be wet in your bed right now. There's another term I want to say, but I'm going to keep it PG. Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera, Jason Kipnis. These are good examples of streaky players. And if you look at segments of their season so far, you'll see they're up and down. So fantasy baseball to me is like bingo. And you have the choice. Do you take 10 cards and play 1 game? Or do you take 1 card and play 10 games? And that's what fantasy baseball. If you stake yourself to one lineup or risk changing your lineup and losing the player, that one player that was hot 2 days ago gets cold, or that one that was too cold you didn't pick up gets hot today. It's a crapshoot.
So how about this? If fantasy sports, in every sport, what sport would be the most likely sport where you could just pick a lineup at the first of the year and pretty much keep it, except for here, there, give it a change?
I would go with probably a hockey.
That's what I thought you'd say.
I would go with hockey or football. Hockey or football. If you can generally make the fewest trades in hockey and football, you don't see trades. Baseball's not one of those teams.
And even though hockey gets knocked on and beat on, they seem to not go out on the injured list as much as the basketball, the baseball, the other sports.
And the length compared to injury time and trades, hockey is just I think is probably your best bet for fantasy. One example I wanted to give you is like the beginning of the season, David Ortiz was a hot ticket. But it seems that this 39-year-old Red Sox DH has lost his mojo. He's batting .220 with a .298 OBP, and he's on the pace to hit 18 home runs and 63 RBIs. The last time he was this bad in a season was 2002 when he was with Minnesota. So the question is, has Father Time caught up to him, or has his prescription for eye drops finally run out? All I got to say, keep an eye on his hat size. That'll tell you whether or not.
All right.
Anything else you got?
Well, other than what are you going to watch tonight?
Let's ask you. What you watching tonight? We got Game 3 of the NBA playoffs. We got 2 great World Cup matches between Brazil and South Korea and Colombia versus Mexico. Tanaka and the Yankees go up against Scherzer and the Nats. No Stanley Cup. That's some good games on tonight. What you watching?
Probably going to end up watching at least one of the World Cup games with Colombia, Mexico. He laughs because my wife is from Veracruz, Mexico. Throwing that out there.
9/10 of your family.
Okay, 9/10 of my family is. You are correct. But then I may watch maybe a quarter of the NBA game. I'm a fan of Steph Curry, but I'm not a fan of LeBron.
For me tonight, it's reruns of Orphan Black. If you haven't seen the show, a friend of mine got me watching it.
I don't think that was on our list there.
I know. I'm addicted. My wife's addicted. Orphan Black. We're in season 2 halfway through, and we can't put it down.
All right, one more time. Plug into that razzledazzlesports.com.
Yeah, look it up.
You get to see our ugly mugs on there. You get to see what we write. It's our opinions, just like this podcast.
Feel free to comment and make some forums.
Got a forum in there. Got comments, like he said. Just shout out to us. Just because it's Tuesday, it's not Taco Tuesday with my wife and my mother-in-law at the house. But we do have tamales tomorrow.
All of a sudden, my wife's got an urge for beef jerky. What's up with that?
Beef jerky. This is James the Nose Holt.
And this is Jeff the Bagman Baggett. And all I don't know, this Caitlyn Jenner model that just popped up, she's pretty hot, don't you think?
Hey, I've heard of her.
And we're just saying.
You're working with a star. The biggest. Give 'em the old razzle-dazzle, razzle-dazzle 'em. Razzle-dazzle 'em, and they'll never catch one.